You guys probably already knew why the farmers must harvest on time. It's important to harvest on time to maximize the potential, the full potential of the crops. That is the full potential. In verse 35 it says, I tell you, open your eyes and look at the fields. They are ripe for harvest. Okay, harvesting crops is essential. Or better yet, harvesting on time is essential. Yes, there were times when the harvest died out, and it was because the farmers was getting to understand seed time and harvest. They was learning when the agriculture was really starting on earth. So they were starting to learn it, especially during that infant stage of harvesting. Now, farmers over centuries, you know, they got to the point where they knew how to master the harvest, the crops on time.
Okay.
Technology, wisdom, watching the stars, all these things, they started to master it. As believers, collectively, we are poor farmers.
That's right.
We are poor farmers because collectively, we're not monitoring the harvest. We're not paying attention to the harvest. Verse 35 says at the end, they are ripe for harvest. We need to be equipped. My job is to equip you to be able to recognize the harvest. Amen. We must be in tune and be ready and discern when it's ready so that we can be ready so the Lord can use us to help bring deliverance to God's people. Now, staying in John chapter 4, we're going to jump down to verses 31 to 33. And verse 31 says, meanwhile his disciples urged him, Rabbi, eat something. Verse 32, but he said to them, I have food to eat that you know nothing about. And verse 33, then his disciples said to each other, could someone bring him some food? All right. Jesus' disciples represents leadership today in the sense, in this passage, in this part of the passage right here, is that they was worrying about their flesh because they were hungry. All right. So we will give a little context that when Jesus' disciples, when they was leaving Canaan to go to Samaria, because they had to go to Samaria, and so when they got there, they split up. Jesus wound up stopping at the well. That's where he met the Samaritan woman, and his disciples went to go get food. So they can eat because it was a long journey. It was a long journey. We learned this in the book club. It was a long journey. And so after Jesus finally got finished ministering to the Samaritan woman, that's when they actually came back right on time, right before when Jesus got finished ministering to the Samaritan woman. And so when they came back with food, so yes, it was a long journey. Yes, they were hungry, but that was the only thing they was focusing on. And they said, make sure Jesus is something to eat. Jesus is like, listen, the food I'm providing, as we know in the book of John, Jesus always communicated spiritually, while everyone was dealing with the flesh. And so Jesus was basically telling them that the food I have, you know nothing about. But they still insisted, eat something. So the leadership today is only worrying about their flesh because we are what? Hungry. All right? Because countless church leaders are so focused on feeding their flesh, celebrating themselves, glorifying themselves. All the time we see it, you know, glorifying other leaders to kick somebody's butt just to achieve some recognition. That's a part of reading, you know, of feeding their flesh. Trying to get recognition in the kingdom of church. All right, in the kingdom of church, it causes then for the believers to overlook the harvest of the souls because we put so much emphasis on us. Look at us. This is what we're doing. This is how we elevating. This is how we advancing. Look, I'm going to this place. I'm going to that place. Taking all the emphasis off the harvest, and we as believers are captivated based off of what you got in your closet. What are you wearing? And we all caught what we're seeing with the leadership, and it causes the believers to overlook the harvest and not recognize what's going on. We are poor farmers because of our tricks and our treats that we display every week. Because we are not paying attention to the harvest, this is what happens. This is what happens. The people who should have received Christ years ago to do great things in the kingdom, but they was missed out on their prime spiritual journey, their life. This is why it's important for us to recognize as during the harvest to to reap the harvest at the right time. Because when we miss it, those individuals that we see nowadays miss their prime spiritually because we were not paying attention to the harvest, and they missed Christ at a time where the Lord can truly use them, but we missed it. Again, farmers need to harvest the crops when they are ready because it ensures the highest possible quality that they can use to minimize the potential loss of overripening, the harsh weather causing damage, pests, and disease. Countless people are damaged goods. Are damaged goods, meaning that they was on drugs, they got abused. They was lost in the world too long to the point that by the time they got into ministry, the Lord could not use them because they pretty much almost at their limit to actually be used because we missed the harvest because we took our eyes off the harvest and we put everything on ourselves, and the only thing we were worried about, starting with leadership, is our flesh. All about us taking the people attention off the harvest, and we missing it. Jesus. They have been eaten on by the pests of the world and the poor decisions that led them to get diseases. I'm talking about the crops. I'm talking about us, souls, people, because we missed that opportunity to live for Christ. All of a sudden, based off the decisions that we should never have made, we made, and it caused harms in our lives. This was not supposed to happen, but due to the tricks and treating that we display and see every Sunday, it caused us to be what? Poor farmers. Amen. Experienced farmers want to ultimately maximize their profit and secure a good market value for their produce. Harvesting too long or too late, again, will significantly hurt the crops in a negative way in terms of quality and quantity. Worst of all, meaning that people died out because they was missed because of the foolishness of the church, that they could not be able to tap into and watch the ones that was ready to finally walk with the Lord. But they missed that opportunity because we missed, as believers, to know how to monitor the crops. Amen? Amen. And many people had died without Christ because we missed the harvest. We've missed the harvest. We are poor farmers because of our tricks and treats. Amen.